According to several reports circulating in the UK press this morning, UK authorities are now looking at 5 possible suspects in the Skripal poisoning saga. We are waiting for more details on that to be revealed. That is yet to come. We have contacted Scotland Yard, who have told us that they don't really have any news to share and that they're continuing to pursue several lines of inquiry. Now, at the same time, we are seeing UK-based open source investigative team Bellingcat announcing that they have, according to them, conclusively identified the 3rd suspect in the Skripal poisoning case. If you remember previously, they said that, according to them, the names of the first 2 suspects are Chipiga and Mishkin. They identified those 2 men as GRU officers. Now they're saying that this 3rd suspect is a 45-year-old Sergei Fedotov, who, according to Bellingcat, is a senior GRU officer. Bellingcat are saying that all of these 3 men had their covers created at the same in the same year, back in 2010. And according to them, this 3rd suspect is linked to a case in 2015 in Bulgaria where a businessman fell sick and was taken to hospital along with a son and his executive. And the story there never led to Novichok, and the substance used on him was not really identified. But Bellingcat is now linking those together. And we have heard from the Kremlin spokesperson say that it's not really clear where this connection comes from and what this revelation is based off of.
We can get some insight now from author and Russia analyst Martin Macaulay. Martin, thanks for coming onto the programme. Now, there were lots of question marks hanging over a lot of the claims first time round in the Skripal case, as it proved hard to find that definitive information. What can we expect this time? Is there anything concrete that we can have more insight into what's happened?
I think it's an ongoing saga because after the identified 2 apparently GRU officers last year, there were rumours there were 2 more involved. And now we hear there's 5, there's 3 more. And so it's an ongoing saga. And it's quite interesting that they're linking these officers to Bulgaria, because one thinks back in the Soviet era when Georgy Markov was murdered, and he was a Bulgarian, and therefore in the British mind, when you think about Bulgaria, you think of Sergei Markov, who was murdered in London with an umbrella, poisoned with an umbrella, and therefore the average Briton reading that and thinking about that, yes, that makes sense because Markov was murdered in London, and that went back to the KGB in Moscow. So therefore, it's probable now that there was some link to the Skripal case. In other words, it's conspiracy, and people love conspiracies. And all this conspiracy, of course, points the finger at Moscow all the time. And it's no accident that it's come at present because the United States is leaving the INF Treaty, and therefore Russia is being accused of a whole variety of things, of in fact violating the INF Treaty. That's bad news for Moscow. This is more bad news for Moscow. And of course we've got Brexit in Britain, and perhaps the authorities thought, yeah, this is an interesting time to bring this item up at the present, because they're not going to give any definitive information because they would then be revealing their sources. But why not bring it up at present, because let's divert some attention away from Brexit.
Martin, the Skripal case, though, it's been in the spotlight for some time now, considering the length and the depth of the initial investigation and all the controversy that entailed into the Salisbury attack. Why hadn't this information emerged before, do you think?
I think it's an ongoing one because from the security services point of view, they think in the long term. They will look into this case, and they will investigate it, because they haven't really identified everything that they need to identify. They've made accusations and so on, which are really impossible to prove. And you cannot go back and find the officer or the government official or the government minister or even the president who gave the order. So therefore, you keep looking and trying to find more information. So you build up a network of contacts and people giving orders, and in this way you keep this subject live, because in the public's imagination this is a huge story and it's still going on, and Skripal is still not well and he hasn't been released and so on, so he's still ill. So therefore, in the public eye, this story is still live and will continue to be live, and it will do a lot of damage to Anglo-Russian relations as it continues. But from security's point of view, security services point of view, they will continue this because they're looking and finding if they can find more contacts, if they can link these officers to other attacks in other countries, then they build up a network of information which they can use at present and hopefully in the future.
OK, author and Russia analyst Martin Macaulay, thanks very much for coming onto the programme. Thank you.